Good morning and welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be talking about the Bari Bari No Mi, or the Bari fruit. Let's go! Right, so pretty much everyone should know by now that I love Bartolomeo, and he is absolutely amazing with his barrier fruit. He can cross his fingers and create a barrier that pretty much no one can break. This is insane, and I personally feel this devil fruit is overpowered. Especially as a defensive paramecia devil fruit. Like, man, that is dangerous. So, the barrier fruit gives Bartolomeo the ability to create barriers. And these barriers are pretty much invulnerable. He can actually create a massive barrier and then be able to bend it to whatever his will is. Now, obviously, we have seen most of his abilities in the Colosseum in Dressrosa, and personally, I feel that this is just absolutely insane. Like even when when Cavendish turns into Hackaboo and he starts speed slicing Bartolomeo's barrier when he turns it into a cylinder, he still isn't like damaged. He's just standing there going ha 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 ha. And then obviously Cavendish sees, well, Hackaboo sees up the top and there's a hole, and then he instantly twists it just to make sure that Hackaboo can't even get to him, which I find is absolutely funny as hell. Now, obviously, Bartolomeo's devil fruit is amazing, and he can create stairs with his barrier, and people are able to run on this, as well as a defensive devil fruit. He can make some really weird shapes that are relatively helpful. Along with that, his devil fruit is fairly useful in actually being a very utilised devil fruit in order to create any type of shape, and it's pretty much unbreakable. So think of it like a massive sheet of graphene. Like, that stuff ain't gonna break, okay? So obviously we actually saw right at the end of the Colosseum, well, it wasn't really the Colosseum, Dressrosa arc, where Bartolomeo turns his hand, creates the barrier around his fist, and he uses Bari Bari pistol, like Luffy senpai, because Bartolomeo obviously loves Luffy, and he uses that as a weapon. Now, this is a very deadly move, because I thought about it, and this is an near on unbreakable bloody barrier. I'm not going to say it's unbreakable because we haven't seen Kaido punch it yet, but that being the case, if he's able to smash you with that, that's going to bloody hurt. And I personally feel that this devil fruit is really, really cool. Like, I would love to see Bartolomeo a bit more. I would love him to just roll up in Wano and start kicking ass. Because at the end of the day, if you can create a barrier and you can, like a near-on unbreakable barrier, and then you can bend it to whatever will, you could literally make yourself like barrier swords, barrier shields, like an actual shield. That would be really cool, but you still have to cross your fingers. Now, obviously, this devil fruit is absolutely cool as hell, and he's able to make like barrier balls, like a massive sphere. Like when he was fighting Gladys, he put him in a massive sphere, and then Gladys tried to rupture, hurt Bartolomeo because he was inside the sphere, but protected everyone else. Bartolomeo being the case, he's able to just completely, it's just an amazing devil fruit. Like, come on. Imagine this though. Because I was thinking about Diamond Jozu, like yesterday's video, and I thought, what the hell? What happens if, like, Bartolomeo, like, learnt armament haki with his barrier fruit? that shit won't break. That just would never break. Like, Yonko, protected. I will sit and evolve forever. that is just insane, and I thought that would be super OP. But I think a good way of him being able to utilise devil fruit even further is if Bartolomeo would be able to, like, increase the size of his barrier, because we know it has some form of limit on how much he can actually make, and then with that amount of sheet he can turn it into something, is pretty much what he can actually do. Now, I find that this devil fruit is absolutely cool as hell, but I reckon that if he used observation haki, he could utilise it a bit more, like kind of the way of Katakuri. If he could see a few seconds in the future, he could then protect other people really, really fast. Like, barrier, 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 barrier. Or if he got awakened, he could create a massive barrier sphere and then still have barriers on him to actually fight. So he could close off and go a 1v1 like he did with Gladys. But he would be able to create barriers within his barrier sphere. Kind of like the birdcage, but more or less with the barrier fruit instead. Which I think would be actually even awesomer, because his barrier would just be able to just wreck. So that being the case, guys, that was the Bari Bari No Mi, or the Bari Bari fruit. Bartolomeo is one of my favourite characters, and seriously, I could talk about him all day. Like, if you left a comment, like, talking about him, I would talk to you guys for, like, ages. Like, I love that devil fruit. And Bartolomeo just in general. So, that being the case, guys, have a lovely rest of the day, and I shall see you in the next video tomorrow. Bye-bye.